Thank you for inviting me, and thanks everyone for spending part of your afternoon sharing your own stories of transformation through design. My name is Camila Diaz, and I currently head the product design and research teams at Moonpig. I hear that many of you have been using us and have been receiving lots of Moonpig cards lately. I'd like to talk to you today about how we're transforming customer experience through research and design at Moonpig. For those of you who aren't familiar with the name, Moonpig is a UK-based e-commerce. We're mainly known for our personalized greeting cards, and we have sites in the UK, USA, and Australia. We have a great card range, about 12,000 cards and counting. I thought the best way to illustrate our story was to use our own cards. So I'm going to talk about how we're transforming the experience for everyone at a company level in the industry through design. And to set the context, I will talk about how lockdown looked like for us. To this day, we have been about 6 months in lockdown, and it's been an absolutely crazy ride. When Moonpig decided to start working remotely, we were just about to enter Mother's Day. Mother's Day is our biggest peak of the year and is the busiest time we have. All teams prepare for this for months. And this year, we started seeing a change in numbers a couple of weeks before Mother's Day weekend. We saw an unusual upswing of the amount of new customers and sales, and before we knew it, our products just started flying off the virtual shelves. Pages were becoming faster, and they were becoming empty faster than we could hide them. And that weekend, we broke every record and beat every projection. The lockdown was a continued peak for the next few months. The first weeks were hard going. The UK was put into lockdown on the 23rd of March. And as our high street competitors started shutting down their physical stores, our sales continued to grow. We were faced with the possibility of having to close down our factories, and this would have compromised our supply chain. In an unprecedented turn of events in the company's history, a spontaneous team was formed. At 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, my boss reached out to me to let me know that the e-cards project that we had been planning for months was now a top priority for the business, and that I was now the designer leading the project. My counterpart, our head of product design, our head of product management, was the PM, and they had also selected a group of 8 of our best engineers to work with us. No time to lose. I ran a 5-day design sprint, all condensed into a single day. And by the end of the first day, I was ready to test flows that the engineers started building on the second day. At the same time, we were working with content to make all the necessary changes to the site. Marketing and trading were doing their part too, communicating to users and mitigating all potential disruptions to the service. We released a whole feature in a week. This was a combined effort where every department in the company had one clear goal. This goal was to provide our users with the means of connecting with their loved ones in the absence of physical cards. And we were able to do all this as a remote team. Of course, the feature wasn't perfect. We kept on improving it over the upcoming weeks. As a company, we learned a valuable lesson from the eCards experience. We saw what clear focus and collaboration can achieve when it's done at a company level. In this case, we had lots of things in our favor. We had a crisis, and people usually unite around a single cause when crisis happens. We also had a clear goal to make sure that we could still support customers even if our factories were shutting down. We had permission. Our leadership told us it was okay to stop everything else and focus on this. It was the sum of all of these ingredients what determined the success of eCards. As a team, we, the design team, are continuously looking for opportunities where we can bridge cross-team collaboration. And we've been thinking a lot about how we can replicate the incredible boost of energy we experienced during lockdown and during the creation of eCards, so that we can create this enthusiasm across the company consistently. eCards is an example of how we were able to react very quickly. We were able to mobilize all our resources in order to achieve a single goal. But we don't want to be always reacting. We do our best work when we have time to follow the process. Our process is based on the British Design Council Double Diamond. We have added an extra step, anticipation. For us, anticipation looks like we were figuring out that when requests were coming to us, it was already too late. Probably the request needed to be delivered in a really tight time frame, and we were not going to have time to follow the best process. There are lots of things we know about the way our business works. We have yearly cycles. We have tons of data from previous years. We have very defined peaks, and the peaks are the same every year. So there is a lot of information that we can use in order to anticipate. So anticipation for us means that we are trying to figure out what the business will need before anybody has asked us for it. We started trying to do this as an exercise. In some ways, we were able to anticipate upcoming requests where by trying to understand historical data, by having conversations with people across other teams, and by having a clear understanding of our industry. We're able to do all these things by making sure that we have a very good understanding of these three specific areas. We believe you should know your users, know very well your business, and know your industry. Knowing your users means having regular conversations with them, listening to them, reading their feedback. We have a number of sources where we collect user feedback. We collect NPS scores. We regularly read all of the reviews left for our iOS and Android apps. We send regular surveys. We have communities of customers we talk to on a regular basis. We do regular user research. We do monthly calls with users where we try and figure out different parts of the journey. Sometimes it's just general. And we try to keep an ear to the ground when it comes to our customers and look in the backlogs of the customer service team to make sure that we are listening and that we are reacting to the right type of feedback. One of the things that happened during lockdown is that we saw our demand in our user base triple. We started seeing some growing trends in certain categories, and we were able to hypothesize that lots of this new influx of customers that we were experiencing were perhaps some of those customers that were forced to not use high street competitors and were forced to discover e-commerce for greeting cards. We know that this demand will not stay like this consistently. So one of the things that we're trying to understand right now so that we can make the best use and be able to retain most of these new users is trying to understand their motivations, their needs, what would make it interesting for them to stay with us, what would motivate, how could we be able to compete with bricks and mortar shops, physical shops. And we want to make sure that in order to cater for these users, we are contemplating a number of things. For example, accessibility. Looking at the accessibility of our site is important, but not only from the point of view of certain disabilities. In terms of inclusivity, and this is how we like to think about the site. We want to be inclusive. We want to think about inclusion for all. We want to make sure that we are catering for most of the needs in order to make the site usable by a largest possible group of people. Because we know that barriers are not only in terms of disabilities, there are physical, there are cultural barriers, there are social, racial. So we want to make sure that we are as inclusive as possible. And this means looking at our language, looking at the terms we use, making sure that we have several different spellings of a word so that it fits culturally different regions in the UK, and that our card range is inclusive. Knowing your business means you have a good understanding of the business needs and goals of other teams. We think that the best way in which we can be of service to our company and our customers is by turning everyone into a designer. This is one way to ensure everyone feels both responsible and ownership for customer experience. We are achieving this by understanding and empathizing with our colleagues. Empathizing is usually done at two levels: internally and externally. Externally, we're talking regularly to our users and do everything a user experience team is expected to be doing. The more interesting variation, and where I think understanding and empathizing can bear bigger results, is when you empathize internally. Designers speak a big game about empathy and empathizing with users, but rarely do you hear designers talk about empathizing with other teams internally. Having awareness of their goals and ambitions, digging deep into the why of some of the requests you're getting as a team. Ultimately, the goal of all teams is the same. We want to be commercially successful, and we want to do this by providing the best experience for our customers through our product and service. And when we find out that when you demonstrate empathy for the challenge other teams face, they magically start listening to you. One way to turn your colleagues across the company into designers is by giving everybody the tools so that they can do part of your job. Teaching others how to do your job. And in the case of research, we realized that there is a lot of research being done across the company, and that we were not going to be able to always help to do it or police that it was being done to our standard. So we decided that the best way to give people the tools to do the best job possible so that our researchers could concentrate on the strategic pieces of work was to train people on basic research practices. So our researchers are running training programs at company level in order to help people do basic kinds of research on their own. And rather than waiting for other teams to bring projects to us, which sometimes doesn't give us the time to plan and react, we are constantly looking for opportunities. And there are many sources these opportunities can come from. Sometimes they come from our customers and their ideas and their pains. Sometimes they come from the market. Sometimes there's a change in company strategy. We have our eyes and ears open and try to keep ourselves always up to date with the latest for every team. This has meant a growing enthusiasm for user research and product design, and we see, as a result, growing requests for our help coming from other teams. Knowing your industry. In terms of how design is helping Moonpig prepare for the future, we know that as a result of what happened this year, the creative industry has been hit hard by the pandemic. And we wanted to support young, talented people by offering them the opportunity to get their designs to market in a quick and effective way. So we're growing the business into becoming a publisher's portal. We're launching the largest onboarding program in our company's history, looking for established publishers, as well as any creative talent or anyone who is passionate about creating greeting cards and is eager to develop their own range and needs a platform where they can feature it. This will mean that we get to help the industry, but for Moonpig, it will mean that we get to grow our card range. And the initial goal is to triple the range. This will help us become one of the most representative card retailers and will make our offer far more interesting, where it will mean that our customers will benefit from this too. The product design and research teams are right now helping creating all of the service design piece and figuring out everything that is needed in order to slightly change the business model that Moonpig has operated with and figure out the kind of moving parts that an ecosystem this size will require in order to work harmonically. In the end, it's adverse situations like this that makes us stronger. And I think the fact that as a company we have pulled together and we have made a priority to look after each other has really helped us. The important thing is that we keep supporting each other and remember to stay connected. Thank you.